Okay, in this new episode, I'm talking to my friend Pauline Larkin. Pauline is a trainer, she's a consultant and coach who specializes in the areas of leadership and management development, performance management, organizational culture, communication skills, and something very specifically I'm going to talk to her about, and that's this whole issue of time and priority management. She's passionate about helping individuals and teams develop collaborative relationships which enhance organizational productivity and impact positively on organization culture. Um, she's co-founded her own little organization called More Great Days. Pauline, thanks for taking the time to talk to me today.
It's great to speak with you, Dave.
Um, Time and priority management. With so many of us working from home, in our makeshift, we were joking a little bit before the camera turned on here, but the challenges of working from home and the makeshift office space and the little things that you're doing there. But probably even at a higher level, something we need to be concerned with is this issue of just time management and priority management during the course of the day or the week or whatever. What are some of the unique sort of challenges you've had to face or people that you know perhaps talk to you about?
Mm. I think one of the unique challenges that people are facing is what am I aligning my time to? So the goals that my organization had 3 months ago are very different from the goals that my organization has. So we can have all of our operating systems that help us manage our time effectively. We can have our calendar, we can have our task list, we can block off periods of time. But I think when the context of the work that we do has changed, and we're not sure what that context is, and people are not sure about what their security is within that context, and at the larger part of the organization, they are really thinking about how do we have space in the market and how can we serve our clients best. I think that's really, really hard for individual contributors to kind of take a step and say, okay, well, who am I in all of that?
Can you offer any advice or tips to help people keep focused and to help perhaps manage their time or determine which are the priorities they should
Yeah,
be dealing with?
yeah. Well, I think the flexibility of being able to recognize that the beautifully executed plan that you put forward for the beginning of the year is not the one that you're going to be moving
All
on,
gone, all
right?
gone.
It's kind of changed. So I do think there's that 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 pivot and that flexibility. That's what I see, is that the personal anxiety, the stress, and to be quite honest, some of the resentment, the anger that people are feeling, around this, that can dissipate the sooner we accept that this is the situation that we're in. So it's very hard for people to realign their time, their priorities, their energy, and their focus when when a couple of things are occupying their mind, and that is when they're fearful or when they're resentful, right? Because when we're fearful and resentful, we're often going back into the past around, why did I not see this coming? Why did my company not see this coming?
Hmm.
Why did I not X, Y, and Z? And as soon as we're in that headspace, we're disconnected from what I find to be a fundamental question that helps move through any difficult time. And that is just, how can I be of service?
Hmm.
Right now, how can I be of service? The plan that I had for this year has gone. The needs that people have shifted and changed. So when I really stop and think, let's think about you're an individual in an organization and there's been a ton of change. Just pausing and thinking, how can I be of service? And the way that that shows up may be in either taking a big stretch and taking on more responsibility. And sometimes that may be about taking on work that you would never have thought you would have done.
Hmm. Hmm.
Right. And I'm going to use the term the work that's beneath you. Right. Um, I was working with an organization and they were talking about how they were desperately thinking about how can they continue to employ and redeploy people. And one of the examples that they gave there was, there's lots and lots of maintenance that we've been meaning to do in this organization for a long time. We haven't done it. So there's a question here of, no matter what your title is or what your pay grade is, if you can log on and give us 2 hours of cleaning up this database, that
Hmm.
would be tremendously helpful.
Right, right.
And I think that's a way of just thinking about, how do I, when I'm not sure about what to do, I think it is helpful to not find things that are not value add, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
one of the things I notice is there's a kind of paralysis. I don't know, I've got nothing to do, so I just won't do anything.
Sure.
Or there's this desperate need for people to be so productive. I've
Mm-hmm.
got all this time and I don't know what to do. And I think both of them can challenge us to be in rust out or burnout.
Mm-hmm.
Rust out, I don't know what I'm doing, so I don't do anything.
Sure.
And burnout is I'm just clawing at anything to do to say I got stuff done to fill up my time. And the impact of that is that we can spend we don't necessarily spend our time wisely there.
Mm-hmm.
We don't necessarily spend our time on value add activities. That I think pausing to really think, still that fundamental question, what is the best use of my time right now? What not what's fear telling me to do,
Right.
not what is stagnation telling me to do, not what is me comparing myself with someone else telling me what to do. When I just really pause and say, how can I add value and be of service with all humility? Not only do I think that helps organizations, but I think it taps in with that sense of I did something that was purposeful.
Sure.
I did something that was meaningful.
And just as a wrap-up question, I'm going to hit you with what I ask pretty much everybody I talk to in this little program, and that's what lessons do you think we've learned or we're learning right now that we cannot forget? When this thing is over with, we'll be in a huge hurry to put all of it behind us and move along. But what are we learning or what have we learned that we have to incorporate into our future thinking?
Mm-hmm. That we can be more agile than we ever thought we could. We're being pushed to be agile, that we can let go of perfectionism and we can develop. I mean, one of the things that I've been doing and working with colleagues to do is to develop products that really had a way longer shelf life in terms of when we were going to get to release date. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, no, the market needs it right now. So
Right.
I think it's, really kind of leaning into that agility. I think it's incredibly important to look back on this time and remember also how much was accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
That, the stretch that people are going to and the push that I see people do in terms of learning new skills and upskilling and in the whole new way to work, right? Being able to work remotely is a skill set. And I've just seen organizations I've
Mm-hmm.
seen some organizations do that so well and others still struggling. And then I think the final thing that I would suggest is, just as you talked, as we rush to go back to the norm, like everyone's desperate, like let's go back to the normal. A friend and I were talking the other day about being cautious about going back to some of what was normal.
Mm.
Right? It wasn't all great.
Mm-hmm.
The desire to get back to that new norm. This is an immense opportunity to
Exactly.
spring clean,
Exactly.
and to be cautious of that.
All right. I've sucked up enough of your time. It's always
Thank
great
you.
to see you, and maybe at some point we could do something like this in the future, but it's always
I'd
good
love
to
to.
talk to you.
Okay, take care, everyone. Be safe.